Hey everyone. Yeah, this has been an update on a video I tried to do after work last night as I was waiting for my bus. As I was waiting for my bus, I tried to do this video talking about basically how, just talking basically on how, how do I put this? Basically, how I don't think, okay, let me put it like this. Let me put it like this. Um, Basically, everybody fears that should the vote, should the proposal, the plan to repeal net neutrality, the plan proposal to repeal net neutrality get voted on the 14th, if it goes through, first of all, like a lot of people from Angry Joe to many people that have probably done videos and stuff, editorials, everybody has basically pointed out that this is not automatically going to go into effect. That the FCC may vote on this, but it's not going to go automatically into effect. It's not going to be like, okay, it's voted on, let's repeal, let's do it now, overnight kind of deal. No, it takes time. And there's a lot of hoops and hurdles it has to go through before it becomes a reality. And everybody's pretty much saying that this is similar to what's happened before. And I even said live here on this channel that we've been here before many times. When they did SOPA, Ripper, when they tried to repeal the first time, all that, we've been in this situation. We've been in this situation. And most of the time, whenever any of those things tried to go through, they failed. Why? Because even though a proposal for it may have passed, a plan proposal may have passed, in the end, people fought against it, not just people like me or you or other people watching live, but corporations like Walmart, Target, any corporation, major company that relies on an open internet or relies on some kind of form of the internet that's free and open to do the business on, they fought against it because they don't want the consumers, and they themselves do not want to be limited to what they can and cannot do. One thing, one thing that one thing that a lot of people have brought up when it comes to this is if this becomes a reality, the reality we could be looking at is different service packages. Sorry for the lag there, but different service packages. And what that means mainly is the fact that you could have one package for social media, one package for streaming, one package for video, and one package for everything else. You could have those kind of packages. Sometimes you might have them all condensed into one major package and that solves everything, but still part of the whole proposal. Now, some might say that the FCC chairman that has come up with this proposal, this idea, some may be in agreement with it by saying, hey, this kind of gives us a choice. Like, hey, we just want YouTube and Facebook and all that because that's what we use, and Twitter and all that because that's what we use to get our voice really heard more so than anything else. Then, okay, fine. What about you want to shop online at Amazon or Walmart? Those could be, according to what some people are pointing out, those could be limited to a shopping package. Like, oh, you want to shop online? Okay, fine. You have to pay $5 additional for this package that involves all the online retailers or anybody associated with online retailing. And not a lot of people will look forward to that. Not a lot of people will. checking something there. Yeah, not a lot of people will look forward to that, and for good reason. And for good reasons, because you're limiting what they can do. Now, some people may argue and say, well, they're not necessarily limiting you. I mean, basically, from the examples shown, all you'd have to do is pay for what you're having right now for free. You'd probably just have to pay an additional $20. $5 each package, fine, no problem. That's just you want your main services is 25 to $25 extra. So what? You know, and I can understand that argument, like, oh, you're just going to be paying an extra $25. It's just they're going to be separate service. They're going to be separated into separate packs. Here's the thing: the internet is not like cable television. Cable television has its limitations. You want to watch, let's say, CMT, Country Music Television, because it has some good programming, maybe some good movies you want to see. Oh, but wait, you can't because it's not part of your service package, your current service package. You got to add it. The only way you can add it on is by adding on to another package or adding another service package on. Do you think people want that for the internet? No, they don't. They don't. What if something comes up? Because what if something comes up an emergency? All of a sudden, it's like, oh, I can go to this site, but they can't anymore because it's like, oh, you want to use this site to report an emergency? Sorry, give us an additional $5. It doesn't work. It shouldn't be that way. And this is why when I look at the possible reality, this and let's play, like I said in my other live video, let's play advocate here. This is what I look at. If this goes through, this plan proposal passes, again, like I've said, and Joe Vargas of Angry Joe Show has said, and many others have said, and in videos, editorials, many news articles have mentioned this and brought this up as well. It's still going to have a lot of hurdles to go through. I mean, the latest, timeline-wise, the latest it could be made into a reality and rolled out to officially occur is next year. Because according to what a lot of people are saying, a lot of what the FCC, especially this chairman guy, wants to do, cannot become official, cannot become reality if the plan proposal goes through, cannot become reality at all until next year. And you pretty much have an open time frame, an open window of time to, even if it goes through, you have major corporations like the one I work for at Walmart. You got major corporations like Target, Amazon, Netflix, Hulu, VidMe, YouTube, Google. You basically have an open window for a lot of these corporations that rely on the internet, that make their living on the internet or through the internet, to fight back along with the consumer. We all know it's going to head to court. I mean, reports have already been put out there that Ajay Pratt, I think that's his name, who's the FCC chairman appointed by Trump, he's going to basically have an uphill battle. That even if this passes, that's just the first step. That's just the first victory. That's just the first victory in this ongoing war, this ongoing battle. It's going to span for a year. And I honestly believe a lot of people feel that even if he wins this round, he's going to lose every other round. He may win a few here and there, but in the end, he's going to lose. But then again, as I was trying to say yesterday, it may become a win-win for everybody. It may become a win-win because here's what I look at. And this is why I play advocate. Play the role of an advocate, if you will. You see, I can understand maybe why they want to do this from a business standpoint and everything. Hey, let's get some more money for these telecommunication companies that provide the internet as part of their service. Let's get a little bit more money in their pockets because they have families to feed and all that and everything. I get that. I really do. But in the end, even though that's probably a good reasoning to get more money in their pockets, you're pretty much screwing over the rest of the consumers. You're pretty much screwing over people like me, Joe Vargas, Doug Walker, James Rolfe. You're screwing over people that work at Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, all because you want to have control. And even though maybe your intentions on your side might be good because of certain reasons, it's not good for everybody else. This is why I believe when it's all said and done and the dust is cleared, this is where I can see a compromise being made. A compromise basically being that the FCC gets the Audrey Platt and the FCC get what they want, but at the same time, we as the consumers, along with the major online corporations and streaming services and all that, we get what we want. I don't know who that is. It's that time of year. People like to call. People like to call. I don't know why. Anyway, as I was saying, this is why I believe a compromise could be reached. Again, I can understand if I was on their side of the end and the things, maybe I would understand better why this is happening. Maybe I'd understand, oh, it's to put more money in the corporation so they can give more money to their employers to feed their families, to help their families. Even though some people might say, well, those people don't really need it because they make more money than all of us. And that might be true, but then again, we don't know that. So that would probably be one of the reasons. I could get that. But on the other hand, like I said earlier, like I just said moments ago, you'd be screwing over people like me. You'd be screwing us over because basically you're taking away something that a lot of us, a majority of us actually make a living off of. Angry Joe Show, Joe Vargas, he makes a living off this because not only does it allow him to give his insight to how he feels about how a game is made or how he found a movie went, but it allows him to make a living by going to conventions and interviewing in person, if not interviewing via video call, people like people people that play important roles at companies like EA, Ubisoft, Activision, Nintendo, stuff like that. It gives him that opportunity, it gives him that open forum. And if you take that away, it restricts that forum. Now, I'm sure some people that know about guys like it. Now I can understand. Now I can definitely see that some. Now I can definitely probably see that some people that are probably for the repel probably know of video sites or video channels like and reviewers like Joe and James Wolfe and Doug Walker, and they're probably like these people will be okay. They just need to go out and get real jobs, outside of their house and all that. And if that's maybe what one person is hoping happens, or maybe a few, then that's their opinion. Maybe they're hoping that does happen, but it's not. But there's a chance it may not. I mean, you already got people that make a living off the internet by allowing the videos on YouTube and VidMe and places to be monetized, thus they get paid for what they do. But they also do have real jobs. Rob Rob the Wonderful's YouTube channel, he has a real job outside of what he does. So he's not always in front of his computer doing a cartoon clip show all the time. He has a real job, but he relies on his channel as an additional income. So does Zara Nazarak. Zara Nazarak, even though he lives in Canada, relies on YouTube's monetization of his channel to have extra income. The point is, the point is, you know, if this whole thing becomes reality, you're pretty much screwing over people that really rely on internet and on an open internet to really expand their businesses, expand the horizon. That's what you're doing. But again, getting back to what I'm saying, this is where I feel when the dust is settled and everything, I believe a compromise is going to be reached. Because, like I said, even if the proposed plan, the plan proposal goes through on the 14th, if it's voted on, like a lot of people are expecting it to be, you know, if this plan goes through, if this plan proposal goes through, it's still got a lot of hoops and holes, as I mentioned earlier, to go to try to it's got a lot of hoops and hurdles it's got to go through before it becomes a reality. But let's say it becomes a reality. I believe when the dust is all settled, because as much as that we the consumer and we that make a living through an open free internet, as much as we will fight against the fight to keep it that way, and as much as we know they will fight to repel it, I believe in the end a compromise could be made. Because, like I said, one thing a lot of people worry about is the end result could end up being, um, providers like Comcast and AT&T and T and Verizon and Time Warner and CenturyLink and all of them provide adding service packages. I mean, here's the thing: we always end up getting an update on our internet, right? One of the If this becomes a reality, one of those updates could end up being the update that changes everything to where, oh, I'm gonna go check Google. Wait a minute, what's this? I can't check Google, and instead something pops up saying, click on one of these services and add them so you can access Google. And it's like, now we gotta add it. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't really make sense for us to want to add something. So here's why I think a compromise could come into play. Because you know, as well as I do, that throughout this upcoming year, people are going to fight the FCC. They're going to fight to keep the open internet open. But you know, like I said, those in favor of repelling it are going to want to fight to keep it repelled or try to make the repel a reality. But again, here's where the compromise comes in. I think when the dust is settled, the compromise is going to be there will not be any internet packages. And I'm sorry if it took me this long to get to the point, but there will not be any internet packages. That instead, the compromise is going to consist of every company that provides internet, from Comcast, AT&T, Verizon, CenturyLink, Time Warner. The compromise is going to be that instead of different service packages, which I'll be honest, let's be honest, if this compromise doesn't happen and this all goes through, we're probably going to pay for anyway because we want to still have some resemblance of an open internet. Let's be honest about that. Let's be honest about that. We know that we're still going to pay for it because we probably will have the money to do it anyway. But point being, and getting back on topic here, point being, I believe when it's all settled, when the dust is all settled, a compromise is going to be made to where we may not have to worry about service packages, and that instead the compromise will be, hey, the FCC gets what they want somewhat, but the consumer keeps the open internet. And what does the FCC get in return, along with companies like Comcast, AT&T, Verizon, Time Warner, and all of them? The compromise is just hike up the internet price. That's it. Like if you're paying $35 for internet now, the compromise could be, okay, jack it up $20 more or $30 more and make them pay, $55 or $65 a month for internet. That way they get something of what they were aiming for, while at the same time we as consumers keep an open and almost free and open and basically free internet, even though we'd have to pay maybe $20 to $30 more to do so. Um, but would it be worth, but let's be honest, would that compromise be worth it in the end? Absolutely. It would be. When you think about it, it would be worth it in the end because of the fact that it would allow us to keep a basically somewhat open and free internet. The only difference is we would have to pay a little extra more. We'd have to pay a little extra more with our wallets. Oh, it's just to keep that internet going. I mean, let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. My mom has to go back to school. She has to go back to school this upcoming week. And not this week, but not this week. What am I saying? Sorry. Let me get some coffee. But like I said, my mom has to go back to school this upcoming spring. And she wants to do it online. Imagine her frustration. And she's not very, my mom's old school. I mean, she knows about internet, she knows about online and all that. She's gotten the hang of it to somewhat a moderate stance to where if she has to look something up on her own, she can do that. It's no big deal. Or if she ever got, or if she ever took a chance with doing an audio kind of like video for YouTube, she'd probably know what to do. But the point is, my mom, along with a lot of people, is going to go back to school in the spring. But she's planning on trying to keep it. But she's planning on trying to attend an online class and not be there physically. So imagine my mom's frustration if she ends up having to uh, basically try to get online to take a class and she can't because the college she wants to go to, which is Las Positas, is part of a service package we don't have. Imagine her frustration is like, what? Why is this happening? What's going on here? And then someone like me having to explain what occurred, she's not going to be happy. She will not be happy about that. Because people do rely on the internet for education to take online classes. So in a sense, if you do this repel, hell, and you offer these separate services, you're taking that away. You're taking away education from our students that want to continue their education. You're taking it away. So this is why, again, why I believe if the dust gets settled, when the dust is settled and everything, I believe in the end that what's really going to happen is we're going to have a compromise reach to where, in a sense, both sides win. One side being the FCC wins by kind of getting what they want, and by having companies that provide the internet just hike up the prices maybe by $20 to $30. So instead of paying $65 a month for internet, you're paying. I mean, no, so instead of like paying $35 for internet a month, you're paying $65, if not more. But if that's going to be a compromise that will allow us to have a free and open internet, a majority of us, let's be honest, will probably go for it because we'd rather pay an additional 20, 30, maybe $40 just to keep an open free internet over basically saying, oh, well, you want this service, you want that service, you got to pay these additional fees to get them. So in the end, even if he wins this first round, even if Aji Platt, I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, maybe I'm not sorry, but even if this FCC chairman and he, wins this round, he's still got, like I said, he and a lot of others that support this still got a lot of hoops and hurdles to go over. They still got a lot of hoops and hurdles to go over because this is not going to be overnight. It's not going to be overnight. It's going to be a year-long battle. And even if it goes through and becomes a reality, people are still going to fight it. And there will be, believe it or not, there will be services that will pop up in place of internet services provided by Comcast, Time Warner, and all of them that's going to provide open and free access to internet. So even if this all becomes reality, there's always going to be someone waiting in the wings to say, oh, yeah, you want to take that away? Here, we're going to give it back to them for free. And that's what's going to happen. And I don't think they want that to happen. And I don't think they're going to want that to happen. So they just better be ready for an uphill battle, because a lot of corporations that are not in favor of this, from Walmart, WWE, Netflix, UFC, Amazon, Major League Baseball, NBA, all these corporations, all these companies, and all that, to rely, all these organizations that rely on an open and free internet to expand on, are going to fight against it. And even though the first round may go to FCC, they better be ready to put on the fighting gloves every night, every day, 24 hours almost, because they're going to be in for the fight of their lives to make this a reality. Now, I know some people might feel, well, what if they take it to Trump real quickly and he just signs off on it? They can't do that because it's against the law. And technically, in a sense, it's against the law. They can't do that. They got to go through all these series of hoops and hurdles to make it a reality before it becomes somewhat of a bill, and becomes before it becomes somewhat of a bill that gets voted on and then sent to the president to be finalized and realized. It takes time. It's not going to happen overnight. And I think any Republican that's in favor of this, any Democratic that's in favor of this, any independent Boston Tea Party person, they're going to have to think twice. Like, do we really want to do this or not? They got plenty of time. Well, not plenty of time. They got about 15, 14 and a half days, or 14, 13 and a half days to think about this. They do. They got 2 weeks, literally, to think about this. Because I guarantee you, if this passes, the battle, they may have won the first battle, but to quote several people, when it comes to something like this, the war will just be, the paraphrase actually, the war will just begin. Because they're going to be in for a war day in and day out. And they better be ready for that. So so again though, what I feel could happen, and I'm probably thinking this is the best solution that's going to come out of it, is it's going to be a compromise to where, if this is about getting more money, mainly giving more money to the corporations, the telecommunication companies that provide internet for the consumers and other businesses and all that, I believe the compromise is going to be, we keep what we have now, but those telecommunication companies get to jack up the internet price by maybe $20, $30. That's what I'm looking at. So that's what I believe is going to happen. That's what I believe is going to probably happen, hopefully, as the best solution when the dust is all settled within the next year or so. Because even if it takes more than a year, because here's the thing, they got to wait until at least the fall of next year to do anything, really, to really do anything. They got to wait till the fall, maybe late summer of next year, to really do anything. I mean, yeah, they can build upon it, give, real reasons and all that. I mean, I still believe, in my opinion, that the reason this is happening all of a sudden is not to repel the net neutrality. It's basically because an open and free internet, in the eyes of the FCC, if not in the eyes of maybe people of Congress or Senate, or anybody that is for it. I I have this notion and belief that it's all basically to limit the services that hackers, cyberbullies, trolls, and mostly terrorist groups have. So that way, if there's not an open and free internet, there's less of a threat to get into the United States. It's less of a threat to go around the world, stuff like that. It's less of a threat. That way, from a political standpoint, you have a more opportune chance to track down these hackers, these anonymous groups, stuff like that, these terrorist groups that pose a possible threat. You have an opportunity to finally get your hands on them and put them out of commission once and for all. That I believe is one of the main reasons. And you know what? If Audrey Platt and the FCC just came out and said this is why we're doing it, if they would say that's the reason they're doing it, because let's be honest, it's one of the major reasons they are, if not the legit reason they are, I'm all for it. I say, hey, you want to do it? Hey, if this is the reason you want to do it, fine, I'm all for it. If it's going to get terrorism out of our lives, if it's going to help limit if it's going to downsize terrorism, if it's going to downsize the hackers and the cyberbullies and trolls, those that infiltrate the internet, then hey, myself and probably others are all for it if that's the only reason. If that's the only and real reason, because I think it is. I believe it is. But they don't come out and say that. That's why you have people like me, Angry Joe, and other consumers and companies against the whole repel, against Congress taking away the open and free internet, because they're not telling us everything. They're not telling us the truth. And the truth of the matter, I believe, is not just to give people a choice. It's basically, oh, we're doing it because we want to track down the terrorism groups, the hackers and all that, these anonymous groups and stuff like that. If they would just come out and say something like along those lines, I think there would be this whole debate, conversation, this upcoming battle, war, whatever you want to call it, to keep the internet open and free, wouldn't be that big of a deal right now, because we would have more of an understanding of why this is happening. But they don't tell us that. And I'm a true belief of that's one of the main reasons this is happening. I really do. So, but again, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. I just get this overwhelming feeling that that's one of the main reasons. But in the end, I'm a true believer that when this dust is all settled, that we're going to reach, that a compromise is going to be reached. And that compromise is going to be, we won't lose the open and free internet we have now. The only thing we're going to have to do is pay an additional maybe $20, 20 to 30 to maybe $40, an additional $20 to $40 for our internet services. And that's about it. That's what I think the compromise is going to be. So, and I think that's probably a more realistic and legit compromise. So, but that's really all I have to say on it. Thank you all for watching live and post live. Let me know what you guys think down below. Comment if you like. I'd like to hear from you guys. And I'll talk to y'all later. Sorry this was long, but I just had to get a lot of this off my chest. And peace out. And do what you have to, folks. Do what you got to do to keep us, allow us to have an open and free internet. Because even if, like I said, even if this passes, this proposal plan passes, it's still got a lot of hoops and hurdles to go through. So do whatever you can to make sure we keep an open and free internet. Because like I said, I believe because this is what I think is going to happen again. I believe in the end, a compromise is going to be reached when the dust is settled, and we'll still keep what we have. But the only thing is we'll have to pay an additional maybe $20 to $40 for internet services. That's about it. So let me know what you guys think. I'll talk to you later.